Prophet Sallallahu, so do not neglect them. He has set boundaries, so do not overstep them. He has prohibited some things, so do not violate them. About some things, he was silent out of compassion and mercy for us. Not forgetfulness, so do not seek after them. Right? He was telling us here clearly, God Almighty has so much knowledge that we have a job, right? Compared to Him. So if God chooses to keep the knowledge of certain things away from us, don't waste time running behind Him. Right? God said He is omnipresent, we know that. We understand that. Right? And they didn't have one person in this room, regardless of what they believe in, who is going to tell me that there is not a God. They would say it, even the atheists. But you put the atheist, take him from a place of happiness and put him in a serious disaster, and the first word that comes out of his mouth is, oh God. Oh God. Anybody. You just take them from complete bliss and happiness and put them right into the middle of a disaster, and the first thing is, oh God. By now that pain hit them, is, oh God, why me? Okay. So there is God. But you see, our knowledge, our senses are too limited to understand. So we need to recognize that the thing that resides inside of us, the soul, the nafs, as we call it, or the root, the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is a blessing of God. And we need to treat it rightly, justly, to feed it spiritually, just as we feed the body, you know. When we finish this reading, of course, we'll have nice roti and curry and what. But we feed in the body. We have to feed the soul. Because a dead soul is a no good soul, you know. So we have to feed our soul spiritually. When we feed that soul spiritually, inshallah, with the help of God, we'll reach the stage of being a righteous soul. So what happens to the soul after death, after this separation, depends on how we live our life in this world. Now I could go into, this could be like a month-long talk. If I go to start to talk about what the pain that a believer feels at death, the pain that a disbeliever feels at death. But to make it short, the death of a believer, the pain of a believer, when it's time for his soul to be taken out of his body, it was described by our Holy Prophet Muhammad as an ant's bite. Like how an ant's bite you. The soul removal of the body from a disbeliever is like, you know, a bush with thorn, with hooks, and it's being dragged through your flesh. Okay. That's just to make it short. Like I said, that topic alone could be 2 hours. The trial of the grave is another thing. The trial in the grave of a believer is a blessing to him. The trial in the grave of a disbeliever is a how you want to put it? It's a disaster for you. Right? Now, our soul, as we were taught and described, there's 3 types of souls. Now, I'll give you, I don't have an English definition for the soul. The first soul is called the Amara. The Amara is the unregenerate soul. It is a soul that seeks its satisfaction in the lower and basest things of life. It is prone to evil, and if the evil is not checked or not controlled, it will lead to perdition, to disaster, to the end of everything. Right? Now you know sometimes you watch these cartoons, and you see on the cartoon, one shoulder you have an angel and one you have a devil jumping. We all have that with us. Our mind are prone, our soul prone to do the wrong thing most of the times. And the angel is there to guide us. But the Amara, the person with the Amara soul, was soul, you know, Nafsul Amara. I can't really translate it in English, sorry. But the word is Nafsul Amara. That soul is always going towards evil. Then you have the second stage, which is the Nafsul Lawwama. That is the soul that feels the evil, but it resists it. It turns to God for help, and it turns to God and asks God for His grace and mercy. It repents, it asks for forgiveness, it refrains, and it hopes for salvation. Right? That is the reproaching soul. Now, most of us are in that category. I say most of us, I include myself, because I am still trying to reach to Mutmainna. Now, when I recited that ayah in the beginning, remember I said, Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutmainna. Nafsul mutmainna, O soul at peace. Now the mutmainna, the nafsul mutmainna, that is the soul at the highest stage. It is a full rest. It is satisfied. It receives a warm welcome from the Lord of goodness. And God will say to it, enter my garden, enter my heaven. Nothing could harm you. Nothing could hurt you. Now we are here to pray and hope in God's mercy that the soul of Brother Hassan is received by him as a nafsul mutmainna. That is why we are here. Right? How do we achieve that? Now this part is for the living and also for the dead, for us. We achieve that mutmainna by following and obeying the laws of God. By obeying His laws, obeying His messenger, obeying the laws that He set out for us, following the ways of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now I'm talking to, I know there is people of different religion, but for us Muslim brothers and sisters, it is following the sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And just to let you know quickly what sunnah means. A lot of people mistake the word sunnah, especially in this Western world. You know, for any one of us who has animal home, goat and all kind of things, or we go by the dirt hole to get dirt to repay when we were small. You know, when we walk into the grass, we make a track, and that track will be there for life. That is sunnah. Sunnah is a way, a track, a clear road. Sunnah is no muddy thing. Sunnah is a clear way, and the Prophet ﷺ left his sunnah for us. He left a clear road for us to follow. And if we follow his way, alhamdulillah, we will achieve being nafsul mutmainna. You see, man, God endowed us, give us a lot of faculties and capabilities, capacities to do different things. Even give us the capacity to think of ourselves and keep doing things. You know, I meet some friends of mine, I have to say friends, colleagues who go. One of them lies so much he even forget the last time he lied. You know, but this is it, because God gave us those senses, but we misuse it. And somebody tell me here the name was Naeem, right? Naeem. If you know how great a name that is. Naeem means bliss. You know? Naeem means bliss. No, it's a very blessed name, right? It's and it's from a good surah, you know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, Al-Hakumul Takathur, Hatta Zultumul Maqar, Kala Sawfa Ta'alamun, Summa Kala Sawfa Ta'alamun. Right? Kala Ta'alamun al-Malyakin, La Tarawunna al-Jahid, Summa La Tarawunna Ha'inal Yakin, Summa La Tusaluna, Yawma Izinan al-Naim. He's talking about, you know, he gives man all these capacities, all these faculties, hearing, seeing, smelling, tasting, everything. But when the day comes, we are going to answer what we did with it. And the one who did goodness with it will be the one in Naim, will be the one in bliss. You know? Now, I go to functions all over the place and I meet people with different views and different things, right? I went to one and one brother said to me that you cannot have a reading and pray for somebody. You know, that is not right. I say, why? But God Almighty says in the Quran, Man dhallazi yashfa'u indahu illa bi'izni. Who can intercede with him without his permission? You see, when a person dies, that's the end of all their good deeds. They cannot do nothing for themselves. We who are alive to do for ourselves, we could do for them. Right? Whenever we want to sit down and we make a dua, say a prayer, read Quran, and ask, we say niyat, you know. We make niyat, we say, Ya Allah, we're going to do this, we want you to accept it for so and so. it is up to him to accept it or do not accept it. It's like if we go to Hajj or we fast, right? God can either accept our fasting or accept our Hajj. Don't accept it. Same thing, when we're ready to do something for somebody, make intentions that we do it for them, and inshallah, He will accept it and give them the blessings. You know. Now, to finish off, little fast here. For Brother Hassan has already passed, and for the relatives he leave behind, familiarize yourself with what we call sadaqatul jariyah. Right? For his siblings and his children, especially. The Prophet ﷺ say when a person dies, he leaves 3 things behind that will be beneficial to him. The first one is to leave good children who is going to remember him and pray for him. The second one is like to leave things like you build, like masjids or schools or hospitals that is going to keep giving him blessings. Right? And the third thing is to educate somebody and lead them. As that person teach, every word that person teach, that blessings multiplies for him. Because he taught me, I taught you, you taught the next one. Right? Remember for the relatives, please, you could always do good. Right? For us who are alive, we have to make preparations for ourselves. Now any debt or anything that we have left behind, for the relatives who know about it, pay. Pay, or get it done, or ask for, ask that the person do not hold anything against any one of us who has dead relatives. You see certain. Now for the living here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Yunus, وَاللَّهُ يَرْقُوا إِلَّا دَارِ السَّلَامِ وَيَهْدِي مَنْ يَشَاءُ إِلَّا صِرَاطٍ مُسْتَقِيمٍ. Allah invites you to a home of peace and guides who we will to the right. All God does is invite us to a home of peace. It is our choice whether we choose it. Islam is a religion of choice. It's not a religion of force. I know whatever takes place in the world today paints a different picture. But in the Quran, and some of us read different Quran, In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, choose. Everybody have a choice. You choose which way you want to go. The life of this world is nothing but an illusion. Therefore, rush towards the forgiveness of your wrath, for the paradise which is as vast as the heaven. I'm going to just finish off with 1 or 2 little pieces of the Quran here. I'm only going to leave it in English. And this is like I say for the living. In Surah Bani Israel, Allah says, whoever receiveth guidance, receiveth it for his own benefit. Whoever goeth astray, does so to his own loss. No bearer of burdens can bear the burden of another, nor will we visit our rod until we have sent down warning. It's simple. Whoever take guidance is for their own benefit. Whoever don't, is their loss. That's simple English, right? But the piece about it is that nobody, when that day comes for judgment, nobody can bear these sins of others. Everybody has to bear their own sins. Right? Now, just so that before I finish, I would like to ask everybody here, whenever they have time, go to the cemetery. Pay a visit. Right, the Prophet ﷺ, and when I tell you about the Sunnah, this is part of the Sunnah now. The Prophet ﷺ said, visit the Qabristan, visit the graveyard, as it makes you remember your own death. Don't go and try to carry the best flowers you could carry. Don't go and try to carry 100 wreaths and make that grave look the best. Go and sit down by a plain grave and think about the time when somebody might be sitting on hours. That is the reason we go. It's supposed to be an admonition, not a celebration. We go there to remember who is in there and how they was with us. We go to remember our parents who was there and how they did not with us. We go to remember that one day our children will be put in us. So So what are we doing to prepare our souls? Right? Visit the graveyards. It will cure the illness of envy and give you a big admonition. And perform the janaza prayer, the last prayer. Perhaps it will give you a feeling of pain to your heart. This is the teachings of the Prophet. Right? This is what he taught us. Everything that he taught us was love and goodness. You know. Someone asked the Prophet ﷺ, which Muslim is the wisest and most intelligent? He replied, the one who remembers his death and does deeds which benefit him after his death. Intelligent is the one who prepares himself to be obedient to the commands of God, to the Sharia, and who makes an account of his deeds and does deeds beneficial after his death. A fool is he who obeys the wishes and whims of his heart and hopes to get reward for it. You know? Inshallah, I'm going to stop there because, like I said, this is a topic that will go on for weeks. Let us each one in our minds pray whichever way we could and ask God Almighty to grant Brother Hassan, make his soul nafsul mutmainna. For us who are Muslims, we say, Rabbana ikhwanina alladhina sabaquna bil iman wa la taj'al fi qulubina ghillan lil ladhina amanu Rabbana innaka ra'ufur rahim. Say Ameen. And we are asking God for those who went before us, for us who are here, right? And to take malice from our hearts so that when we do things right. Inshallah, if I have said anything wrong, know that it is from me. If I have said anything that it is good, know that it is from the teachings of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and from the glorious speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If I have said anything wrong and offend anyone, know that it was not my intentions. I know sometimes these things it takes longer to explain, so some people might be confused. If you have the time and you want to ask me questions afterwards, feel free. I'll try to answer them to you. Inshallah, if I have said anything wrong, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me, have mercy on me. And if I have said anything right to benefit anyone, inshallah, I will take it and act upon it. Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, now I'll just be a MC, right? So I'm going to call on Sister Hashneen, Sister Lena, and Sister Jenna, the sisters of Hassan. All the sisters.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Hassan, elder sister. I'm a Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
I'm Hassan, elder sister. On behalf of my other sisters and brothers who couldn't be here today, I'd like to say a few words on behalf of them. Hassan was the eldest of 12 of us. I was the second eldest. Hassan and I were senior to the younger ones. Hassan and I grew up together very close. We play, we fight, we cry, we do everything together as brother and sister. When we grew up, we got married, we went our separate ways. But that didn't keep us separate. We keep in touch with each other all year. He came to Canada, I went to England, but we was in touch with each other all the time. Until He came to visit me in England. I came to Canada many times to visit him. We went back to Trinidad to visit again. And when I got this call about my brother was not well, it was a shock. Because the weekend before, I called him and we talked on the phone, and he had this way to say, "Sis, how are you doing?" I'd say, "All right." And "How are you?" "I'm fine, I'm okay." That was not the weekend before he passed away. When my sister called me, she said to me, "Hassan is in hospital, and I called you to get your phone number so you could ring him right there." She called me Sunday morning. I thought she called to give me the phone number. When she called to tell me that Hassan passed away, it was like if a bullet went through my stomach. Because Hassan and I grew up together, we were so close and only. Now Hassan has gone. I miss him so much, and I pray Almighty Allah shower His blessing on him and give him a place in Jannah.
Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Selena. I don't have much to say, but all I can say, Hassan took the time to come to visit me in Winnipeg so often to visit my family and my brother and my husband. He was always been back to me. I miss him so much.
Assalamualaikum. Good day to everybody. My name is Gemma and Hassan's one of the sevens. I live here with him, but I'm going to miss him very much for all his birthdays and Christmas, long trips and everything. He was one of the best brothers anyone could have. And we spoke every day, plenty. He loved to make people laugh, and he was a joy to everybody. Every single birthday, Christmas, long trips, pastor, music, him. And we would miss him very much. Thank you all.
Welcome.
Allah accept your duas from the sisters, all the duas from the sisters for him. And inshallah, keep making dua for him. It's all we can do now, right? Now I'd like to call on the nephews and the nieces. I don't know, she only to have one niece over here. I know Nigel, Shan, Naeem and Anisha. Is there more nieces?
Assalamualaikum. So I had something prepared, but I'm going to keep it short. I'm going to let the most important one go first.
Assalamualaikum.
This is what I will remember. Briefly and without.
With caring eyes and watchful eyes, which now can us from above. With your kind smile and charm, I usually knew you years ago. 27 years of laughter, but I know it was your time to go. I knew the man you became, the uncle I adore. The other in the family, the toys won't I know. That is what I
the
I'm Gemma's youngest son, so for a lot of nephews. I don't have much to say, but for the most part, I think everybody here knows that. You know, anytime you saw Hassan, he had a joke. He always had something to give you, or he had a story to tell you. So I think one thing that always stands out in my mind with Uncle Hassan is a joke, whether it's a good joke or a bad joke. Because we all know Uncle Hassan have all different kinds of jokes. But another thing where most of you might know and would not know is Uncle Hassan, if you didn't know about Canada, he will tell you about Canada. He will give you the in-depth Canadian history like he was still there. And at the same time, he would also know every single thing about Trinidad. So, I mean, for growing up, majority of our life here, it was with Uncle Hassan, seen him almost every weekend, every Christmas, every birthday. So every time we saw him, it would be, you know, we were kids, so he'd bring us chocolate, or he'd bring us different things, but he'd always tell you about some kind of history or some story. So I mean, with most of us, as you know, we reflect and look back on last time, you know, just remember those things, you know, the jokes, whether they're good or bad. I mean, we can tell some later on. But for the most part, I mean, I think we all miss him, and we all miss the liveliness that he brought to everyone's home or gathering. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. I guess I had the great privilege to grow up with Uncle Hassan as being the only niece in Toronto. And from the moment I can remember, Uncle Hassan and Sarah, so it's going to be very different with him around. But he was always there to make jokes and make us laugh and always have a chocolate, doesn't matter how old I was. I remember the last time he came by, I brought a brand new car and he said, "Oh girl, I want to drive in that car." I said, "Yeah, okay," and I never bothered to get up to give him the drive, but I know he liked it. You know, hopefully he, may Allah bless his soul and he showers his grace on us, and will truly be missed, but you know, Uncle Hassan's someone that even if he's not around, he's always making us laugh. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Nigel. I'm Sean and Nisha's older brother, Gemma's eldest son. And I thought I knew what I was going to say. I can't even think of what I was going to say. But I think most importantly, what I learned from Uncle Hassan was to live freely, to love freely, to be a free spirit, and most importantly, take lots of pictures. Because pictures are memories, and I think one thing that we all share is all the things that he loves. Taking pictures, traveling, and I think if we had to leave today with one thing, leave with 3 thoughts in your mind that remind you most of Hassan. Whatever those thoughts are, think of 3 things that reminds you of Hassan. We will miss him dearly. Nine.
I had my turn. I just had a couple of memories that I wanted to share with everyone. The first time I met Uncle Hassan was I grew up in England and he lived here, and I met in Trinidad. The first time I met him, and I guess coincidentally, my first memory of Uncle Hassan coincides with my first memory of tasting pepper sauce. Yeah, there is a relationship there. Uncle Ali will remember that one. Uncle Hassan also contributed somewhat to my popularity in high school. When I told my friends that my uncle was in my camp, luckily I was good at cricket, so they can't believe me. That's really what I wanted to say, and to sum up, I think everyone will agree that Uncle Hassan has left us with some lasting and pleasant memories, and we will definitely miss him dearly. Thank you very much.
You know, for a minute there, I was thinking, all the time I could take off the mic and sit down comfortably. And then I see Manisha try to put it back, and I say, if I do that, I might break it. And the next thing is, how come I didn't have the name of the little statue that came up here, man? Say, mashallah, you know, like she could come up and recite the poem. They put all the big ones' name and delete the nice one.
That was a surprise.
Okay. I'd like to call now on Brother Faiz. Start the words, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Father Hassan father and my mother were one brother, one sister. Hassan was a very good human being. As a matter of fact, he was too good. Every time I tell him, let's go to masjid, say no. I say, why you don't want to go? He say, every time I go to one collection. Anyway, I was born in a place called Freeport, Calcutta Settlement. My parents came very young. Hassan's mother, our father, my mother, with their parents from India. And they settled in Calcutta Settlement. My Hassan dad was a teacher, he became a principal of a school, and they had posted him up to somewhere in Sangugan. However, I came to Canada with my wife and 2 kids. And my son reached an age of getting married. But at first he was doing some wrestling promotion. And he met a girl in Trinidad and was going to get married. So I told Hassan, he said, is he going to get married? I said, yes. He told me, Dave, that guy quit his job just to go to Trinidad to my son's wedding. And he had 3 cameras around his neck. He took out 160 films, and there were no film in the camera. That was the type of friend, that was the type of human being Hassan was. He meant well for everybody. As a matter of fact, he was one of my partners in playing cards. He gave me call and Trinidad also, including my friend next to me there in Shah. He came at my house about 4 weeks ago. And he played cards till about 9 o'clock in the night. Then they had something to eat and he left on the road. That same morning, he took him ill. And his wife took him to the hospital and he died. Now, ladies and gentlemen, don't look at the age. There's a little, my mother used to speak mostly Urdu, and she said, I'm just going to quote a little verse what she used to say. She always talk about Hajj, Mecca, Medina. She couldn't read and write English, but she knew the Quran by heart. She was a Hafiz. And she used to say, आज के जिले, बिहान के जिले, परसों के कौना ठिकाना है. Those of you who don't understand mean that your life today, tomorrow your life, after tomorrow you don't know where you will be. And she used to always say that Allah put you in this world for one purpose, only to pray, serve Him. Everything you have achieved is through Him. And she said, she used to always say, Khoda, in Urdu we say Khoda, in Arabic we say Allah, in English we say God. Say Khoda ke samne, jab sar झुकाना इल्तिजा करना, मदीना के मुसाफिर हूँ, मेरे हक में दुआ करना. When you have achieved that, many of you here, including Haji Saab, has gone to the Middle East for Hajj, and you will agree with what I am saying here. So ladies and gentlemen, I am no speech maker, but prayer, I believe in prayer. I honestly believe in prayer. I was a very, very bad fellow. I'm talking about bad, that not drinking or smoking. I never did that in my life. But if you are my friend and somebody do you something, I am on his head. I was an athlete all my life. I used to fight a lot. And I took up wrestling. I won a gold medal for Canada. And today, as a matter of fact, after tomorrow, I have to go for surgery. Right now, my leg, I'm racked with pain. I have to change the kneecap on this leg. But that didn't stop me from praying or exercising or doing good. I look forward to this afternoon to come here. And, this morning I was at Etobicoke General Hospital for almost 6 hours just to take out a few drops of blood. That's the penance we have to go through to achieve stuff. Hassan was my cousin, and I will never forget him. He lived at our house in Freeport. He left San Gandhi as a young boy. He went to school with me, in my school. When he get homework to do it, I have to do it for him. And we grew up together, and when I came to Canada, I started to work with the Canadian National Railway. Then he came after, and I got a job for him. He didn't take the job. And I offered him a place to live. He came with a nice Studebaker car one day. So I looked at it and said, "That's a nice machine. You should get it, you should paint it." 2 days later he come back, the car was painted. He bought a paintbrush and he painted the whole car. That was the character. He was married once. One day he came home, he was mad. I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "I'm going to trade in my wife." I said, "Is that right? Why?" He said, "If I start to tell you stories, it will never end." I said, don't tell me, don't tell me. Well, they divorced and she went one way, he went the other and stuff like that. However, he has gone and I miss him very badly. And ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thanks for listening to my rhetoric here this afternoon. Oh, Assalamu alaikum.
What I think he forget to tell you guys. But Hassan forget the film in the camera. And he paid the car, the paper, the amount of lash he and Tiger G put on it. They will not come up as the practice back. You know? When you see he and Tiger get together, you know, Tiger and Lion, poor Hassan coming. Anyway, we're now going to have a contribution by Brother Hinchan. Was I don't know the relation, but one thing I know was two of them used to fish together. A lot of these stories used to grow by the time they get home.
I wouldn't tell you much about the fishing experiences. I'll tell you that I have known Hassan for the last 50 years. We attended school. We attended school for many years. I left for England, when I came to Canada, Hassan was a frequent visitor back and forth to Trinidad. He kept in touch with all the family, and he got hold of me somehow, and that relationship continued from there. He has always been a wonderful kid, helpful, as said by many of the speakers. And I think we all want to live for that memory of a good friend. May Allah bless them. May Allah bless each and every one of you. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah for all the contributions. I'm now going to call on Brother Tyndale to say a few words, sir.
Good afternoon, students. I was sort of surprised when I was asked to come to speak to you. I know Hassan through my wife and his father's sister, and I knew him for just a short time, not very much. Whenever I'm asked to speak, I always like to address people with scriptures, either from the Quran or that. I begin to say with the Quran, O you who believe, stand firm for Allah, as witnesses to fear dealing, and let not the hatred of others make you swerve to do wrong, and depart not from justice. Be just. That is the next piety. And fear Allah, for Allah is well acquainted with all that you do. To those who believe and do deeds of righteousness, Allah will promise forgiveness and a great reward. That is Surah number 5, verse 6 to 8. I'll quote a little bit of Nelson Mandela. After climbing a great hill, only one finds that there are more hills to climb. I have taken a moment to rest, to steal a view of the glorious vista that surrounds me, to look back on the distance I have come. But I can rest only for a moment, and I dare not linger, for my long walk is not yet ended. The greatest phenomenon that the Creator has placed upon humankind is the gift of life. The greatest aspects to living that life are in peace and harmony with our fellow humans. The scripture says, a soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words stir up strife. Those of us who have come to know Hassan knew him as a peaceful man, a man who was never ruffled by the turmoil that surrounds him. When most of us would worry about the troubles of this world, Hassan would quietly say, what is all the fuss about? People will always do what they want to do. He embraced a profound love and respect for all people, irrespective of color, class, race, nationality, religion, or social status. But his greatest love was for his immediate family. His wife, Sarah, brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews, and his extended family. There is nothing in this world that he would not do to defend them or help. He loved life and loved it to its fullest. Hassan loved to travel across this great country called Canada and some parts of the United States. It would be nothing for him to drive hundreds of miles to enjoy the beauty and scenery that the Creator provides. He worked for several years for one of the largest car rental companies in Canada. Some years ago, Hassan and his cousins, Fazil, Rafina, Fareed, Naima, Yazid, and Fazia, went on a trip to Florida and ended up at Walt Disney. They had planned to go and see the sights and the shows, but Hassan decided he was not going because, as he said, I've been there before. So he stayed in the trailer and cooked. When the others returned from the theme park, there was no Hassan. They checked all over the place. No one could find him. So Fareed decided to climb up on the trailer. Next thing you know, Hassan was in a little groove on top of the trailer, fast asleep. As some of the other people have said, he was fond of fishing, photography, and like most Trinidadians and West Indians, calypso was his favorite music. And as we all know, the mighty star was his. And he had a mounted fish in his living room and hundreds of photographs to comprise of his collection. He loved to give jokes. And when he gives a joke, he doesn't even laugh. And he has you laughing your head off. He spent many hours with his colleagues and friends, all for us. Hassan was a happy-go-lucky person in his youth. One day during a rainstorm in Trinidad, he and some of his friends decided not to go to school. So they went down to the Pooch River to line. The next thing you know, Hassan was swinging from the bridge by his legs with water streaming down the river. If he had fallen off, we would not be here today to pay tribute to him. When his father heard that news, he was very furious. Hassan was not a religious fanatic, but he worshipped God in his own way. As one listens to him, they would come to conclude that he believed in a supreme being that created and governs this universe, and he respected that supremacy. He believed that religion is a personal choice and each individual is entitled to his own calling. Because the Holy Quran says, let there be no compulsion in religion. Truth stands out clear from error. Whoever rejects Tagut, which is other gods, and believes in Allah, has grasped the most trustworthy handhold that never breaks. In religion, we should not brand anyone with impiety because they do not worship the way we do. By regularly attending the mosque, the church, the synagogue, or the temple, this does not mean they are lacking in any knowledge of God. Because in some cases, and in many cases, that same person who you think is impious knows more about God than many of us. There's a story of a woman who lived alone. And every day some man would stop by her house, and all the other people in the village would think that she's a bad woman, she's a prostitute. When she died, no one wanted to help to bury her, except a certain holy man. After she was buried, some of the other men went to the holy man and berated him, criticizing him for helping to bury such a bad woman. The holy man calmly said to them, "You do not know that woman. She was kind, compassionate, generous, and loved her fellow human beings." He told them that she provided sustenance for those men who went to see her and taught them the ways of God. Those so-called pious men were so ashamed that they apologized to the holy man. And that story brings us to a passage in the New Testament where Jesus said, "Judge not, lest you be judged." Hassan never judged anyone. He may not be a person of world renown or of flamboyance, but he was a great human being. And one thing we must always remember, the greatness of a man is not measured by his achievements, but by the spirit of munificence or generosity that propels him to greatness. As one philosopher says, a long life is not good enough, but a good life is long enough. And I believe that our brother Hassan, whom the Almighty lent to us for a little while, lived a good life. May his honesty, integrity, and simplicity long remain within the annals of our memory. And may Almighty Allah bless him in his final home and grant his spirit the pleasures of immortality. Thank you.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept your prayer, and that we all pray for granting our soul of mine. Inshallah, we're coming right on to the end of our program. We have a couple of minutes, I leave open 5 minutes, so if anybody would like to come up and say anything, any friends or relatives would like to come and say a few words. A couple of minutes, inshallah.
Assalamualaikum everyone. I am Alicia, Rosalind's daughter. Hassan is one of Hassan's older cousins. No, I just spoke to my mom, and I had asked her to say something, but she started to cry. So these words are from her. Uncle Hassan lived with us for about a year or two. He was very close to my mom. He visited her all the time. And I mean, she went over to his place. And I know she's deeply sad that she couldn't be here to say these few words and to see her cousins and to see you because I told her you were here. What can I tell you about Uncle Hassan? Well, I remember he bought me a kitten for my birthday. He bought this cat and hid it for my mom. And when she saw him give me this kitten, she started to quarrel. And he took his hands and he put it on the cat's head and he says, I told you she was going to do this, but don't listen to her. And gave this kitten a home. And my mother did not like pets in the house, but because of Uncle Hassan, we ended up having this kitten and took care of it. And my mom fell in love with this cat until, we had to move and give it away. Uncle Hassan taught me to drive and to read a map. Yes, to read a map. And I helped him when he was taking his, he had to take a test or so when he was getting his taxi license. And here I was, 13 years old, learning to read a map and saying things and learning things to be a taxi driver. He said, in case you could always get a part-time job. So here I am, on behalf of my mother, to say goodbye to Uncle Hassan. I have beautiful memories with him. He was fun. He hid secrets that young teenagers doesn't want their parents to know, but blackmailed you halfway anyhow. And he'll be sadly missed. That's all I can say, because I think I'm going to cry.
Anyone else? Anyway, I don't quite believe in your last statement of saying goodbye to him. You know that favorite statement that everyone makes? The living goes on, but the dead don't. In our case, he does. In our case, all the dead does, because we still have, like I said in the beginning, God Almighty created us eternal, not to die. So we go on. And the last stage now depends on these the people who feel love for him, they keep praying for him. When you pass a person on the street that has their hands out, and you dip and you find a quote and say, I give this quote from the Hassan. I remember I was 10 or 11 years old and Trinidad, my mother used to cook all this roti and wrap it and head to Mokrapa Street and give it to these people out, And one day she takes me with her and we was with this 5 roses bag. And imagine 10, 11 years old and this 5 roses bag heavy with the roti, And then I see some big people, coming and they put on their hand. I say, Ma, what you doing? You're killing yourself? She says, son, the prophet do not judge. You don't know if that man is hungry. So whoever we see on the side of the road, they want some help us, inshallah. And when we do things for the dead, we also receive benefits. I was just occupying a couple minutes. Inshallah, we will have the vote of thanks by Brother Krishna. I have never met Brother Krishna until today, but this world is a small world, and God is a blessed God. Somehow or the other, he found my phone number, and that's how I ended up here. So, inshallah, he's going to give us a vote of thanks, and then we will collectively join and have a last prayer for all of us, for everything, for the world as it is, and then we will have the Maghrib prayer, and inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. A very pleasant good evening to each and every one of you. My job is, I think, one of the shortest jobs, just to say thank you. Anyway, I just want to say a quick thank you to all of you for coming here today and to celebrate from brother, his brother Hassan. Hassan was well loved by each and everyone that he met. Everyone that knows Hassan to be always jolly, playful. He was so loved by all his friends and family. Anyway, when I came to Canada, Hassan was the first person at the airport to meet me. He took me in. As a matter of fact, I came alone. My wife was still back in Trinidad. She was looking after the kids and the business. And Hassan took me in and he got a place for me to stay. And also, he also found me a job, my first job in Canada. So, he was well loved by everyone. It was very kind to all the people that he met during his lifetime. I also want to thank each and every one of you who contributed in taking part in this pleasant occasion for Hassan. Especially Gary and Nikki, Aaron and family, Zubi and family, Zori, Anisha and family, Radhika and family, Rocky and family, Frank and family as well, and all other relatives and friends whose names it's so numerous to mention. Anyway, also I'd like to acknowledge some relatives who also played a very great part in having this function this evening myself. Also, I must say it is very, very pleasant welcome to my brother-in-law, Lalu, which we call him fondly. His name is Sheriff. He came all the way from Trinidad. Also my sister-in-law, Hashibu, who came from England, and my sister-in-law who came from Winnipeg, and her husband, Bobby, just for this special occasion. So once again, thank you very much.
Fill our hearts with fear for thee, fill our hearts with love for thee, fill our hearts with love for the Nabi Rasulullah, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ya Allah, fill our hearts with taqwa, strengthen our iman, guide us, Ya Allah, Ya Allah, Ya Dar Jalali wal Ikram, Ya Khaliqu, Ya Rab. Ya Allah, grant us from your immense capacity, Ya Allah, of grace and mercy, Ya Allah. Have mercy on each one of us, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, guide our children, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, put them onto the right path, Ya Allah. Make them successful in this world, Ya Allah. Save them from calamities and dangers, Ya Allah. Save them from hardship and torment, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, give them good lives, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we beg you for all of those who are suffering throughout this world to grant them relief from their hardships and their suffering, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, grant all the sick with shifa, Ya Allah, with healing, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, and accept our dua and guide us, Ya Allah. Yeah, and finally, Ya Allah, we beg and beseech of you, Ya Allah, to let the memory of Brother Hassan be in his relatives' minds for all time, Ya Allah, and his friends, Ya Allah. And let them remember him with kindness and love, and let them remember him with prayers on their lips, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, let them remember him with prayers in their hearts, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we ask of you to accept whatever good we have done here today, Ya Allah. And bless us and guide each one of us back to our homes and our families safely, Ya Allah. Allahumma fi kulli lanhatin wa nafasin ala mawasi ahulul mulk. Rabbana taqabbal minna innaka antas samiul alim wa tub alayna innaka antat tawwabur rahim. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adhaban nar. Ya Allah, grant us good in this world and grant us good in the hereafter and save us from the fire, Ya Allah. Allahumma asina qibatana fil umuri kulliha wa ajirna min khizyi dunya wa adhab al-akhirah. Ya Allah, make the end of all our worldly and religious affairs good and favorable. Save us from disgrace in this world, Ya Allah, and guide us unto the right path. Rabbi Jani Mukim as-salati min zuriyati Rabbana wa taqabbal du'a. Rabbana ighfir li wa li walidayya wa lil mu'minina yawma yaqumul hisab. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wassalamu ala al-mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Okay, inshallah, we'll be praying Maghrib Salah in 5 minutes. So whoever needs to go and make wudu, I think I can themselves get ready for Maghrib. It's 5:05, right? 5:06? So 5:10. 5:10, right? For the rest of the guests,
But don't like Hassan, make sure you have to turn the camera.
Mommy, just wait, let me ask.